Welcome back to Chit Chats, everybody. My name is Antonio.
My name's Brennen, and let's have a chit chat.
And let's have a very spooky chit chat, you mean?
I think it was my turn.
I think it was. At this point, I don't care. I don't know.
Yeah.
Guys, today we have a very special Halloween themed episode of Chit Chats. Me and Brendan were thinking about what we could do for a Halloween special, and we thought to read creepypastas. I should explain, if you don't already know what a creepypasta is for whatever reason. It's basically just like a story, like a story that people have shared online, and copy. It derives from the word copy pasta. I don't feel like I need to explain this, but you know what? I already am. It's just a creepy story. That's essentially what it is, right, Brennan? It's a creepy story.
I don't remember where the name creepypasta came from, but it's pretty much a creepy story that's been shared multiple times over the internet.
Yeah, essentially. And the reason why I'm consulting Brennan about it is because I never was really into creepypastas when I was younger.
Cool.
That's when a lot of people were into creepypastas, is when they were younger, during the earlier days of the internet. I was never really into them. In fact, I'm not really a horror guy in general. I'm not really a horror. No.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. Brendan's going to walk me through this.
People who don't know me personally, this is my shit.
Mm-hmm. This gives Brendan life.
Yeah, Halloween is my favorite holiday.
Yeah. So
and Christmas is a close second. So
for sure. Mine is like the exact opposite. Well, I like Halloween. I like the idea of Halloween. I don't like watching scary movies. I don't like reading scary stories. I'm just a big pussy. What can I say? Sorry, that's a little bit of an offensive term. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Whoa.
I know. Sorry about that. I don't know why I said that. It was a little non-PC. Either way, this whole episode's not going to be PC, so what can you expect? Anyways, so we picked out 2 creepypastas to read. I'm not
going to say mine until I go.
So. Okay, Brennan's not going to be saying his until he goes because I'm going to go first. I'm going to read mine first. And for me, this is going to be a blind reaction to these creepypastas. I've never read these before. The one that I'm going to be reading is The Rake. And I've been told by my sources that this one is a pretty scary one, pretty classic, scary creepypasta. I wouldn't know.
Dude, it's a classic. It's a classic, dude.
All right.
It's one of the OGs.
All right. So, with that being said, I suppose I will begin.
Let's go.
I have mine pulled up. I don't feel like I need to share my screen. Well, actually, no, I'm going to share my screen because I know that they show a picture of the creature.
Yeah.
And just to add to the creepiness, I'm gonna let you see the creature with me. Sounds good?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, so I'm gonna get my little spooky light here. Ready? All right, here we go. I almost feel like this is creepier if I do it without the light and you just see like the slight like shadow of my face or like. But you know what? No, I'm gonna do the flashlight. It's like I'm telling like a ghost story at the campfire or something. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna try to read this the best I can, as creepy as I can. Excuse me if I pee my pants while I'm reading it. Okay, here we go. The Rake. As the sun begins to set and the trees huddle together in small dark groups, as if shielding themselves against the coming of night, you step quietly and quickly through the carpet of fallen leaves and stray twigs, recognizing and noting as you do every rustle, every snap of a branch created by your own footfalls. You note them so that you can distinguish them from the other sounds, the soft rustlings of leaves, the crack of bracken somewhere behind you. You increase your speed, knowing that night is not the only thing drawing closer. The sound increases as your pace and heartbeats quicken. You turn and in the fading light catch a single glimpse of the hunched, crawling thing that is pursuing you, creeping forward like an animal and yet looking so horribly human. You only caught a single glimpse, but then you start to run. One glimpse is enough. Overview. Mostly associated with the image of a bald, pale-skinned creature hunched at an angle with bright orb-like eyes staring into the camera, the Rake has become a staple creepypasta monster, adopted by many authors as shorthand for a creature resembling the one depicted in the photo and placed in various settings. During the summer of 2003, events in the northeastern United States involving a strange human-like creature sparked brief local media interest before an apparent blackout was enacted. Little or no information was left intact, as most online and written accounts of the creature were mysteriously destroyed. Primarily focused in rural New York State, self-proclaimed witnesses told stories of their encounters with a creature of unknown origin. Emotions ranged from extremely traumatic levels of fright and discomfort to an almost childlike sense of playfulness and curiosity. While their published versions are no longer on record, the memories remained powerful. Several of the involved parties began looking for answers that year. In early 2006, the collaboration had accumulated nearly 24 documents dating between the 12th century and present day, spanning 4 continents. In almost all cases, the stories were identical. I have been in contact with a member of this group and was able to get some excerpts from their upcoming book. Okay, so apparently that wasn't the creepypasta. Apparently this is when it starts. Is that true, or is that part of the creepypasta?
Well, so the Rake is one of the ones where it's a creepypasta, but it's also been supposedly cited in real life before.
I see. Okay. So I feel like I didn't even give any background behind this. I just started reading it. Do I need to give background behind this, or
no? Most people probably know what it is.
most people probably know. Okay, I'm just gonna read it. People will get the gist. A suicide note, 1964. As I prepare to take my life, I feel it necessary to assuage any guilt or pain I have introduced through this act. It is not the fault of anyone other than him. For once I awoke and felt his presence, and once I awoke and saw his form. Once again I awoke and heard his voice, and looked into his eyes. I cannot sleep without fear of what I might next awake to experience. I cannot ever wake. Goodbye. Found in the same wooden box were 2 empty envelopes addressed to William and Rose, and 1 loose personal letter with no envelope. Dearest Linny, I have prayed for you. He spoke your name. A journal entry, translated from Spanish, 1880. I have experienced the greatest terror. I have experienced the greatest terror. I have experienced the greatest terror. I see his eyes when I close mine. They are hollow, black. They saw me and pierced me. His wet hand. I will not sleep. His voice. Unintelligible text. Oh, shit. Oh, God. I was not expecting that. I knew that was there somewhere in this article, but I forgot where it was. Ugh. Okay. A Mariner's Log, 1691. He came to me in my sleep. From the foot of my bed, I felt a sensation. He took everything. We must return to England. We shall not return here again at the request of the Rake. Oh, God. So that's the Rake. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. From a Witness, 2006. 3 years ago, I had just returned from a trip from Niagara Falls with my family for the 4th of July. We were all very exhausted after a long day of driving, so my husband and I put the kids right to bed and called it a night. At about 4 a.m., I woke up thinking my husband had gotten up to use the restroom. I used the moment to steal back the sheets, only to wake him in the process. I apologized and told him I thought he had got out of bed. When he turned to face me, he gasped and pulled his feet up from the end of the bed so quickly his knee almost knocked me out of the bed. He then grabbed me and said nothing. After adjusting to the dark for a half second, I was able to see what caused the strange reaction. At the foot of the bed, sitting and facing away from us, there was what appeared to be a naked man or a large hairless dog of some sort. Its body position was disturbing and unnatural, as if it had been hit by a car or something. For some reason, I was not instantly frightened by it, but more concerned as to its condition. At this point, I was somewhat under the assumption that we were supposed to help him. My husband was peering over his arm and knee, tucked into the fetal position, occasionally glancing at me before returning to the creature. In a flurry of motion, the creature scrambled around the side of the bed and then crawled quickly in a flailing sort of motion right along the bed until it was less than a foot from my husband's face. The creature was completely silent for about 30 seconds, or probably closer to 5. It just seemed like a while. Just looking at my husband, the creature then placed its hand on his knee and ran into the hallway, leading to the kids' room. I screamed and ran for the light switch, planning to stop him before he hurt my children. When I got to the hallway, the light from the bedroom was enough to see it crouching and hunched over about 20 feet away. He turned around and looked directly at me, covered in blood. I flipped the switch on the wall and saw my daughter, Clara. The creature ran down the stairs while my husband and I rushed to help our daughter. He was very badly injured and spoke only once more in her short life. She said, "He is the Rake." My husband drove his car into a lake that night while rushing our daughter to the hospital. He did not survive. Being a small town, news got around pretty quickly. The police were helpful at first, and the local newspaper took a lot of interest as well. However, the story was never published, and the local television news never followed up either. For several months, my son Justin and I stayed in a hotel near my parents' house. After we decided to return home, I began looking for answers myself. I eventually located a man in the next town over who had a similar story. We got in contact and began talking about our experiences. He knew of 2 other people in New York who had seen the creature we now refer to as the Rake. It took the 4 of us about 2 solid years of hunting on the internet and writing letters to come up with a small collection of what we believed to be accounts of the Rake. None of them gave any details, history, or follow-up. One journal had an entry involving the creature in its first 3 pages and never mentioned it again. A ship's log explained nothing of the encounter, saying only that they were told to leave by the Rake. That was the last entry in the log. There were, however, many instances where the creature's visit was one of the series of visits with the same person. Multiple people also mentioned being spoken to, my daughter included. This led us to wonder if the Rake had visited any of us before our last encounter. I set up a digital recorder near my bed and left it running all night. Every night for 2 weeks. I would tediously scan through the sounds of me rolling around in my bed each day when I woke up. By the end of the second week, I was quite used to the occasional sound of sleep while blurring through the recording at 8 times the normal speed. It still took almost an hour every day. On the first day of the 3rd week, I thought I heard something different. What I found was a shrill voice. It was the Rake. I can't listen to it long enough to even begin to transcribe it. I haven't let anyone listen to it yet. All I know is that I've heard it before, and I now believe that it spoke when it was sitting in front of my husband. I don't remember hearing anything at the time, but for some reason, the voice on the recorder immediately brings me back to that moment. The thoughts that must have gone through my daughter's head make me very upset. I have not seen the Rake since he ruined my life, but I know that he has been in my room while I slept. I know and fear that one night I'll wake up to see him staring at me. Okay, I think that's the end of the creepypasta.
Yeah.
Wow. So
there's actually, if I remember correctly, somewhere there's actually an image that goes with that creepypasta.
Is it not the one that they had in it?
No, that's from another. That's from another like Rake related thing.
You know,
but
I think the creepypastas that freak me out the most are the ones that like you could imagine being real almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, like, and that's the thing with this one is that it was originally, I think based off because like there's been like accounts of the Rake for like years. Yeah, this was fan art made for that story. You can.
I don't like that. Don't like that. Don't. I'm just gonna say it one more time. Don't like that. Okay, well, that was the Rake. Why is it called the Rake? I don't think that was ever established.
I don't remember. I just remember like it being like just accepted as like the name.
I think my basic understanding is that it's called the Rake because it calls itself the Rake.
Like, well, because like they just call it the Rake in the story because it says the Rake said its name was the Rake.
Yeah, exactly. So like, so it's like that's what it wants to be called, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, Brennan, you have the floor.
I'm ready.
All right. I'm going to close out of mine and go full screen here.
For my story, I'll be reading one of the most original and classic creepypastas ever made. Some of you probably already know what that is just by me saying that. Jeff the Killer. One of the OGs, one of the most popular known creepypastas to this day. I will be reading a version that I know because this has been rewritten so many times. Every time it stayed mostly the same, but it's still been rewritten time and time again. But I'm going to be reading the version I remember like reading and listening to when I was younger. Anyways, yeah.
Oh boy, here we go. Oh shit. Brennan's gone. Jeff the Killer got him.
Oh, wait, hold on. I can't even see my own computer now. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Also, I don't know if you can hear, but some people are playing Smash Brothers in the room next to me.
Just waiting for that Sora reveal, dude.
Yeah, Sora's not even out yet at the time that we're recording this.
Look,
So
I disappeared. Rawr.
Brendan is gone. Oh, he's back. Oh,
Okay,
shit.
here we go.
All right, here we go. Jeff the Killer. Take it away.
As soon as Jeff stepped foot in the new neighborhood, he knew his family did not belong there. But it seemed to be the only one who noticed. His other brother Lou, who was 15 at the time, went along like nothing had changed, and his parents acted like the move was the best thing that ever happened to the family. And to make things worse, every second Jeff spent in this place seemed to grind on him. Even hearing the distant sound of kids playing outside made his stress level rise. He shut the window and went downstairs, only to be greeted by his mother, painfully cheery faced. She announced that she had accepted a very special invitation. The neighbor had come over and said that she was having a birthday party for her kid Billy and wanted to invite them over so they could meet the new neighbors. And she just knew that Jeff and his older brother would make great friends at the birthday party. Jeff rubbed the back of his neck. He felt like something was pulling at him. He ignored it and walked away slowly back to his room to lay on the floor until dinner, staring at the ceiling. The next morning, Jeff and his brother were on the curb waiting for their school bus to come. They heard a sound behind them, and suddenly a kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches from their laps. Lou looked at the kid and said, "The heck is wrong with you?" The boys skid to a stop, and several other boys lined up behind him. His name was Randy, and he quickly made things clear. He was the leader of a group of bullies, and every morning they'd go around the neighborhood taking money from kids before the bus arrives. Now, for all the kids in the neighborhood, there's a small price to pay for bus fare, if you catch my drift, Randy stated. Jeff and Lou glanced at each other. They agreed. They won't go along with it. But while Lou answered, Randy, one of the bullies, darted behind him and snatched his wallet, throwing it to Randy and laughing. It was at this point Jeff. I can't see my keyboard. It was at this point that Jeff did something that surprised even himself. He jumped right in front of Randy's face and demanded the wallet back. Randy frowned deeply, obviously not used to anyone talking to him that way. He pushed Jeff back, and the sharp click of a switchblade sounded only inches from Jeff's eyes. What happened next, Jeff could not explain, other than to say that he suddenly felt superhuman power surging through him. In one smooth move, he punched Randy in the face and took the knife. He then turned to the bullies and demolished them one by one, even stabbing one of the boys in the arm that he used to take Lou's wallet. Jeff stood tall as the bullies withered on the ground. But then he heard the sound of the school bus coming. Jeff and Lou immediately started to run, knowing the other kids would lie and blame them for the whole thing. But there was no running away from what happened that night. The police came knocking to their door. As they questioned Jeff, Lou suddenly charged downstairs, yelling that it was him who attacked the kids. Jeff couldn't believe it, what he was hearing. What had become of his brother. He protested that it couldn't have been Lou, but Lou showed the knife as proof that it was him, and that it was only him. The police didn't even give him the chance to say goodbye. They took Lou to their police car and drove off. Now Jeff was completely alone, with no one to help take his mind off the strange thought. The weekend came of the birthday party, and Jeff's mother danced into his room, chirping, "It's the day!" She couldn't believe what she expected him to still go to the birthday party after everything that had just happened with Lou, but she insisted, following him around and nagging at him that he needed to wear his nicest clothes. He didn't have anything particularly dressy to wear, so he grabbed his nicest white hoodie and hoped that would be enough. At the party, I just skipped a whole paragraph.
Bro.
Jeff and the family showed up at the party, and the mother of the birthday boy said, "I'm so happy you guys came. Jeff, if you want to, all the kids are in the backyard playing cops and robbers." Jeff looked at his mom saying, "Do I have to?" And the mom says, "Jeff, go meet the new kids." So Jeff went out there and stood off by the side by himself. Eventually, one of the kids walked up with a toy gun and said, "You want to play? We need an extra cop." Jeff originally said, "No, piss off." But the kid's like, "Come on, it'll be fun, trust me." So Jeff said, "Fine," and grabbed the gun. Jeff messed around and played with the kids for a while, and eventually he actually started having fun. And he thought, hey, this is actually pretty fun. I just read that twice. Jeff kept playing with the kids, playing cop and robbers, actually showing fun and actually had a smile on his face. But it wasn't before long that Randy and his gang showed up at the party. They were there to get even with Jeff, and nothing was going to stop them. They backed Jeff into a corner of the kitchen while everyone was outside watching the birthday boy open presents. Randy was the first to attack, stabbing Jeff in the shoulder and kicking him in the face over and over. Jeff was able to push past Randy, but one of the other boys tripped him, grabbing a bottle of vodka and smashing it over his head in pieces. As he lay on the floor, each of the bullies took turns kicking and taunting him, laughing obnoxiously. It was the laughing that pushed him past his limit. Something snapped inside his mind, and he slowly made himself get up and face the bullies. An insane altercation broke out, with Jeff killing Randy and then being chased into the upstairs bathroom by the two other bullies. They hit the wall hard, and containers of bleach was knocked down and poured over all of them and soaked into Jeff's skin. Jeff felt his newfound superpower surging through him again and used his incredible strength to overpower the bullies. But as a last act, one of them took out a lighter and ignited the vodka-covered Jeff's head. He ran screaming out of the bathroom, stumbled down the stairs, and passed out in the kitchen. Oh, honey, I have great news. All the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed to trying to attack you. They decided to let Lou go, Jeff's mother told him the night in the hospital. Jeff spent the next few weeks in the hospital, hooked up to machines with his face wrapped in bandages. When it came time to take the bandages off, his whole family gathered around him with support. No one knew what the true extent of the damage to his face was, but everyone was hoping for the best. He held his breath as the last bandage fell off to the floor and looked to his family to see what they thought. His mother screamed and started to shake. Not good. He looked to his father and brother, but they just sat with blank stares on their face. No one said a word to him, so he ran to the bathroom and looked in the mirror for himself. It was a horror show. His lips were burned with an angry red color, but the skin on his face was stark white. He ran his fingers gently across his cheek. It had a strange and human texture to it. It was that his brother came to the door of the bathroom. Jeff, said Lou, it's not that bad. They just skipped a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, the story I'm reading is weird. They skipped like a whole section of it.
Wait, did you say in the video that you were gonna kind of like add stuff from like the version that you know?
Yeah,
I don't remember. I don't remember if you said it in the video, or if you said it before we started recording. So
okay, well, this is an example. There's a whole section right before he goes home, and so I remember it. So I'll tell it real quick.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
He ran his fingers gently across his cheek. It had a strange and human texture to it. He looked at his hair and realized it was now burnt, charred black. And no matter what he did to try to wash it out, it never changed. Jeff sat there looking in the mirror, horrified. His mother came up and said, "Honey, are you okay?" He sat there and stared for a while. Eventually, he laughed and grew good on his face, saying, "Yeah, I'll be just fine." They all decided to go home that night, and everyone went to bed. Lou woke up in the middle of the night and heard Jeff in the bathroom. "Jeff," said Lou, "it's not that bad." "Not that bad," said Jeff. "It's perfect." Jeff heard a strange noise inside his head, like the buzzing of bees, and he couldn't stop laughing. His parents were disturbed, but the doctors explained his strange behavior anyways, saying it was simply shock and painkillers. Later that night, once everyone had gone to bed, Jeff's mother awoke to the sound of someone crying in the bathroom. When she looked in, she saw Jeff was in there and carved a gruesome smile into his face with a knife. Jeff looked to his mom. "I couldn't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever." Jeff's mother noticed his eyes ringed in black. Jeff, your eyes." His eyes were seemingly never closing. I couldn't see my face. I got tired of my eyes starting to close, so I burned my eyelids so I could look at myself forever. My new face. Jeff's mother backed away slowly. He looked and said, "What's wrong, Rongy? What's wrong? What's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful?" Her voice was shaky, but she told him, "You sure are, that you're beautiful," and that she wanted to go get his dad so he could come see too. But when she got to the bedroom, she practically shook her husband and told him to get the gun. Behind her, suddenly Jeff's accusing voice. "You lied, Mommy." Jeff rushed towards the bed with a knife and murdered them. Lou startled awake from hearing the strange noise. When he moved his head out of the blanket to listen, he didn't hear anything. As he fell back asleep, he got a weird feeling that someone was watching over him. It was Jeff. He held a knife in one hand while Lou was looking at it, he used the other hand to cover Lou's mouth. Shh, said Jeff softly. Just go to sleep. The last thing Lou saw was Jeff's psychotic face looking down over him. Ta-da!
Oh my god, dude. I have to say, the voice added to it so much. I'm going to shit my pants. I almost shit my pants.
There was part of it that still got left out, and it was supposed to be like his the explanation behind his whole go to sleep thing.
Mhm.
And it's like his mom tells him at one point, like, it's all just a dream, just go to sleep. And so that's why whenever he kills someone, he's like, just go to sleep.
I see. Yeah, so for context, Brennan was saying before we started reading it that that there's different versions of this story.
There's so many different versions
there's
of the story.
a bunch of different versions, and apparently the one that you were reading was like not the one that you originally remember, so you kind of were adding stuff in.
Yeah, it was pretty similar, but they left out the part where they went home.
Okay, yeah.
And so because they didn't say anything about his hair, and they didn't say anything about how at the hospital he started laughing.
You did a good job.
Yeah,
you did a good job at like presenting the parts that they left out as if they were already in the story, because I couldn't tell like that they had left them out. Yeah, very, very, very good, very good. Damn,
that was fun.
Yeah.
I really wanted to do Ben Drowned. It's a Zelda creepypasta, but it's so long.
Even I'm aware of Ben Drowned. Yeah, Ben Drowned. Is there a way to like find a shorter version of that one? Because then maybe we can do that for a future episode.
I can look, but I also know, like, I also pretty much know that story, like the shorter version.
You could tell that story like without even reading it. I bet.
I probably could. I probably missed some things, but I could tell the story.
That would be interesting to see if you could, how much of it you could remember from just your memory.
Yeah.
That's a story for another day.
But
anyway, guys, get it, story for another day, because it's a story. Anyway, that's going to conclude the Halloween special of Chit Chats. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you, Brennan, for being a part of this. I know this was not obviously an episode that it was obviously an episode that you were going to participate in. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, that was a given. But thank you nonetheless. And I hope you guys have a very happy and safe Halloween. And we'll see you guys in the next episode of Chit Chats. Bye-bye. I tried to say it in
survive the night.
It just doesn't. Okay, there you go. There's your creepy goodbye statement.